So welcome to Game Plan Sunday. Today is August 8, 2021, here with the gang here. And we had a pretty interesting week in the markets. Had a lot of economic data that spilled over. And so we'll cover some of those things. But before we do that, we'll just recap on, the movement in the markets last week. So the numbers came out. Bitcoin led the way, 4.8%. You guys can see that right there. NASDAQ is right here at 1.11%. The Russell at 0.97%, S&P 500 0.94%, the Dow Jones at 0.78%, and the US dollar at 0.75%. The beatdown boys was gold and oil. They got beat down. They went in red, especially gold. Gold got smacked up. That was very, very interesting. But you guys can see here with the indices, Bitcoin led the way. NASDAQ, held it down for everything else, and everything else pretty much got smacked up. Taking a look at the sectors here, we got the financials that led the way, 3.67%. Utilities also right up under there, 2.24%. Technology stocks came in at 0.95%. Real estate, healthcare, communications, consumer discretionary. We also had the energy stocks that came in, industrials, materials, and consumer staples printed red there. So that's how we were looking there. Overall, financials led the way. Utilities, which is a safety, it's a safety, safe haven. It's a proxy to bonds, basically. And but those stocks pay pretty good amounts of dividends. So they came in at number 2, and then tech stocks also. So, that was all pretty interesting as far as the movement goes. Now, one key thing to understand is that what we've been seeing in the markets here is a lot of what we call gambling activity, where the markets, they're very hijacked. They're just, insanity right now. So a lot of insanity. So a lot of long-term directions aren't too clear right now. So we've just been getting a lot of activity in the markets on a daily basis. But more often than anything, it's been a lot of day trading activity. Okay, so a lot of day trading activity, a lot of pumps, high in the morning, they'll pump all the way up, or may come back in at the end of the afternoon. But a lot of it's been pumping before lunch at the opening. You got to get in early, and then they pumping and ride the wave to like lunchtime. We've been seeing a lot of that, here in the markets this past week. Definitely Topaz talking about AMC, the pumps. And AMC, AMC is, definitely the pumper of all pumpers. It used to be Tesla, but now it's AMC. And then GameStop, they had that thing, but AMC is definitely jumping crazy. So definitely when we go over earnings here, which Topaz blessed us in the feed with earnings, we'll take a look at some of that right there. But a lot of action. Let's go ahead and cover some of the other things here with some of the economic data and stuff like that. Excuse me. So we had the evictions moratorium situation that we talked about. And that was interesting because there's an article here on the website that showed you guys the director from the CDC says basically no evictions in high COVID case areas, right? So the whole idea is crazy to me, which again, Delta is the cause of everything nowadays. So all over the headlines, you guys have been seeing Delta this whole week. But it's all interesting. So anyway, they came in and said it is intended to target specific areas of the country where cases are rapidly increasing, which likely will be exacerbated by mass evictions. Here's the order. It says, shall not evict any covered person from any residential property in any county or U.S. territory while the country or territory is experiencing substantial or high levels of community transmission of SARS-CoV-2. I'm not going to say the word, just y'all know how YouTube and everybody out there trying to ban your videos, don't populate it and stuff if you're doing anything against the will of the state. So anyway, I call it the Rona. So that's why we say that, the Rona, because the algos can't pick up the slang, you feel me? But that's what's interesting about this is that they're saying that they don't want people to get kicked out on the streets because they're afraid that those people are going to spread the Rona. Now, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention or not, but I told you guys, like, when the whole thing first popped off, nobody knew. Everybody was speculating. Everybody was afraid. And the first thing I said is because, you know, you feel me, all of y'all guys, y'all in your home, you got four walls, you got a roof over your head, you're protected. But people that's living in the streets, they have no protection. So I'm like, this thing is out here moving around like, you know, the death angel just killing people. The first people to die should be the homeless people. You see what I'm saying? I mean, that's just a common sense kind of thing. They don't have nothing to protect them. They just all out in the opening with all of the, you know, all the effects of climate and all kind of craziness, right? And the streets are dirty and all this stuff. You guys are in your homes, you're taking baths and showers every day. You know, they say, oh, you guys are dirty, you're not hygienic, so you're spreading the Rona. The problem with these invisible enemies, like germs, bacteria, viruses, is that they're invisible. You know, you don't know what you're fighting. And your imagination just can take it anywhere. And you see, you observe something and you say, oh, we can associate this with that. This is not how this stuff works. So it's a lot of assumption here, but it's just crazy to me that they're saying that if they evict people, then they're going to spread the Rona. It's just crazy. Meanwhile, they're causing a lot of craziness in the financial markets by not allowing that to happen. See, the market has the natural way of dealing with all these things, and the government, they're just not allowing it to, you know, take place. So landlords, they are on the hook. You know, they got to continue to pay these bills, and if they depend on that income for whatever they have to, you know, you got to understand they're digging into their savings, right? And I've been seeing a lot of landlords just actually just selling the properties, right? They don't want to deal with this no more, man. Just sell it, okay? Which is crazy because this is all, you know, the causality. You got root cause problem solve. The causality of the problem is the government's intervention. And in fact, the Supreme Court even ruled the CDC's, you know, mandate here is unconstitutional. CDC don't even have this kind of power, but this is how crazy of a society that we're living in. See, that's why you can't really separate the politics. I know some people like to, but you really can't, right? You got to get into it. That's why I study a lot. I don't know everything. I'm constantly studying, okay? I like to share with you guys things that I learned. Hey, share with me some things that you learned. We can conversate. You know, I love history. I've been learning a lot about it. So, but the Constitution, the CDC don't have this kind of power, but yet they're doing it. You know, it is actually ruled to be unconstitutional. And then Joe Biden comes through with executive orders to bring it back. So anyway, those are properties that could have been in the market, but, you know, won't be in the market now because of that. So I just thought that was really interesting to check out. We did have, let me go over the PMI numbers. We had the PMI numbers that came out. Let's just go over it real quick. And these are the manufacturing numbers here, manufacturing. We also had the service numbers too, but we'll just go with the manufacturing, what was stated in the survey here. Okay, the numbers did come back at 59.5, which is over 50%, which says that it's growing. Just they're saying that it's growing at a slower pace. But this is what they're saying, okay? Business levels continue to exhibit strong demand with no signs of backing down. Purchase continue to have long lead times due to shortage of raw materials and labor force. Shortage, raw materials, and labor force. Increased costs are being passed to customers. This is all inflationary. Remember, they said that there was no inflation. They said that inflation was transitory. Yet every week and every month, inflation, inflation, inflation. You see, supply chains are slowly, very slowly filling up, like a water hose starting upstream and slowly flowing downstream. Rumor is a full return to normal may be nearer to years in, but the situation is progressing. So they're being optimistic, right? Transportation is the current pinch point, more so than material shortages. So they're saying that their problem is transportation, equipment, and drivers. They don't have enough equipment or drivers. That's basically what they're saying there. So shortages. Strong sales continue and inventories are low as the chip shortage is keeping production numbers down. See, these computer chips are so high in demand. You guys been seeing AMD getting pumped up all week, and NVIDIA, you know, it's been a little, you know, wonky here, up and down, you know. But you see, everybody's pumping those computer chip stocks. That's what everybody wants. That's what's high in demand, right? We have idled several of our assembly plants to reduce the strain on the chip supply base. They have idled several of their assembly plants to reduce the strain on chip supply base. That's interesting. Like, why would you idle? Let me read that again. Why would you idle several of your assembly plants to reduce the strain on the chip supply base? So again, that's the inventory shortages. That's just crazy. Here they said, still dealing with price increases from forced major issues, as well as overseas shipping premiums and higher cost of items like fuel. Let's see, pushing plant to max production rates. So they already got their people at maximum production, but they're suffering a lot of cost inputs there. Strong operations with new programs, orders, and launches continue to have higher difficulties, and are unable to fill production and salary jobs due to a lack of candidates. So they're saying they don't have good talent. Basically, they have a lack of candidates. So maybe it's a lack of candidates, or maybe it's a lack of people that's actually applying for the jobs. Raw materials are still in short supply with longer lead time. So basically, the commodities, they're short on those things. But again, you guys see the theme is consistent. And we like to go over these things because you got to understand, as far as the economic indicators, a lot of stuff that we talk about are things that are laggards. Okay, these are things that are historical. These are things that are talking about something that happened in the past. Like we take a look at the employment numbers and stuff like that. But when we look at the PMI numbers, this is a leading indicator. You got to understand, these are the producers, okay? These are the guys that's on the forefront. And so when they get it, it gets produced and manufactured and sold to somebody else who's making it before it comes out into the market. So when we see it up front here, that means it's going to come, in the near future. So that's why I like to look at these things here, because they give us insight of what's coming in the future. So we're seeing consistently on the manufacturing side that, shortage issues and cost inflationary issues here. This other one says, still struggling with inflation and availability. Meeting demand is just not possible due to force major situations, logistics, and labor shortages. We don't anticipate this ending until well into 2022. So they're saying this is not going to end until we're well into 2022. Okay. But the Fed said it was transitory. Y'all remember that, right? The Fed said it was transitory. Well, what is transitory? Nobody knows. Is it a month, 2 months, 3 months? Half a year, 2 years, 3 years, nobody knows. It's transitory. They just make it up as they go along, right? But these people here on the forefront, they're telling you, it's no end in sight, bro. Like, the best case for us is that this will probably end 2022, well into 2022, probably like the end third, fourth quarter. That's what they're thinking. Supply chain continues to be extremely challenging in a variety of categories, having to place orders months ahead of time just to get a place in line. So they got to place orders months ahead of time just to get a place in line. I'm still waiting on products that I've ordered months ago. This is just crazy. I'll call one of the companies up, firearm company, I've been working with, getting some other products, and I had to get them to release all my other orders, and then I'll be on hold for that and for whatever they got on back order. And it's been almost 2 months I've been on back order. And I'll call them up and I say, hey, when y'all gonna get the parts in? The dude was like, oh, man, we got people that's been waiting over a year for the same thing that you ordered. And I'm like, so you mean to tell me, like, y'all couldn't put that on the website to let me know? Because I probably wouldn't have just ordered it. You feel what I'm saying? Like, if y'all don't have it, you got people that's on back order for a whole year still don't have it. There's no end in sight on that. Give me my money back. You feel me? Like, this is crazy. But yeah, that's what we're seeing, right? I said they're very busy with new orders. Material costs continue to rise. Supplies are sometimes delayed, and labor issues are still affecting us the most with finding proper labor. So they're trying to get qualified candidates, can't get none. Labor costs are increasing as we are competing locally for top talent. So they're saying that the costs are increasing. Now they're competing for for the talent. And so what happens is when Amazon, say for instance, they decide that, oh yeah, we'll pay everybody $15 an hour minimum. So those people, these guys who working in these places, they're gonna have to increase theirs to try to compete to get talent. You see what I'm saying? So that's what's happening with that. And again, nothing wrong with wages rising naturally, but when you have government intervention that's causing it, then the government is the problem. So business levels continue to be very strong, but we also continue to struggle finding employees. We can only fill 75% of our order requirements due to the labor shortages. So again, this is probably some of the reasons why I can't get the shit that I need to get, because they're having issues with trying to find people. Okay. So basically, with the unemployment benefits and stuff like that, a lot of people haven't been coming into the workforce, which we've got some unemployment numbers. But what was interesting, it's not just that, right? I read an article. I can't remember who it was. Maybe Yahoo or Barron's or somewhere. But they were talking about how a lot of people are not coming back to these jobs. Basically, they did a segment on all of the new entrepreneurs that's in the market now, right? So, the people who didn't need the money, they took the money, stashed it, and saved their businesses or launched their businesses or invested the money in their businesses. And a lot of people work a job and conduct a business until, the business is able to take care of everything that you need. Then you can roll over. And so what they're talking about is that they got like record amount of people that's going into business and they're basically quitting their jobs. They did some surveys and people are like, yo, I'm not going back to my job. I'm just not going back. I'd rather take the risk, take the chance for my business. And the thing is that the business could be actually doing great. And in this segment, there were some people that actually are doing great in business right now. You got to understand we're in a distorted economy where direction of all these products, goods, services, and stuff like that is just way crazy, out of sync. So the question is once the economy, gets that equilibrium back together, will those businesses be able to sustain? Okay. Resources are limited. You don't have an unlimited amount of customers. Customers are limited, right? You don't have enough resources to compete with all other kind of people that's in your business. So, it's a tricky situation where you have to think not just short term, but midterm and long term. So it's a time preference thing here also that you got to calculate. So anyway, I thought that was a pretty interesting little segment that they had. And I thought I posted, but I guess I didn't. But anyway, that was pretty good. Here is the PMI numbers for service. So we'll go over services here. You said Shippers, Evergreen, Zim, Costco, Mace are backlogged and their prices went up for one container. Thanks, Topaz. Yeah, a container used to be $6,000 to $8,000. Now they are going from $14,000 to $20,000. Exactly. Inflationary. But the Fed said it was transitory. All right. So peak demand while still facing challenges filling open positions. They can't find people. Okay. The slow movement of container traffic has definitely impacted our business in the first half of the year. We expect the situation will take another year to correct itself. Again, they're saying at least another year. All right. Costs have risen dramatically in the last 45 days. Lodging, fuel, travel, and supplies are rising sharply. Costs for available labor are also rising as demand increases in a diminished labor pool. Again, competing for labor, can't get the labor. This all costs, and that cost is going to get passed on to consumers. Okay. This one here, highlight on COVID, the Rona Delta version. Surgical volumes continue to increase, reflecting pent-up demand for services. However, the Rona is impeding our ability to manage increased surgical volumes due to increased Rona case admissions. Consistently of supply in a couple of categories remains challenging, though moderately manageable. Okay. So again, we got this whole Delta situation that is, wreaking havoc all over, the news, publications, and, websites all over the place. You just can't, escape it. It's all over you. They flash them to you. They got you scared out your mind. Zombies out here. They got, different versions of the zombies that you get. You had alpha zombies. Now you got the Delta zombies. So people are just scared out their freaking mind. Thanks to the media for not even showing people like the truth. Anyway, we can see, and again, when I say the truth, I'm talking about cases versus deaths. There's a lot of cases. When you test more, you're going to get more cases. Okay. But the deaths are not as bad. And I'll show you guys a chart so you can just make your own decision. Okay. When you see the numbers, when you see the data side by side, broken down, laid on top of each other, you got to see it all every way, not just the way they just give it out to you. All right, so fuel prices are coming back down a bit. Labor shortage continues for drivers and general labor work. We have increased pay for many positions, but the shortage continues. So they're increasing pay. People still ain't showing up. People still not going back to work. Okay, this is a problem. Supply chain disruptions continue to impact sales. Supply chain, short supply. There we go. Continued shortages in computer equipment are challenging for fulfillment needs. corporate travel has resumed, but we are seeing many flight cancellations and car rental shortages. Interesting. Flight cancellations, car shortages, less travel. Who's going to be negatively impacted by that? Airline companies, travel companies. Y'all got to be thinking like that, right? Because again, we're taking a look at things that's going to be impacting in the future here. Okay, leading indicators. Heating, ventilation, and air conditioning repairs also impacted by longer than normal lead times for replacement units. Ocean freight costs have created a negative impact to our business. There you go again, that freight cost that Topaz is talking about. The containers, man, it's getting crazy. The congestions at the ports of Long Beach, Los Angeles, and Seattle have increased lead time by 15 days. Additional delays are occurring at the Chicago rail yard, causing 2 to 3 weeks of additional lead time. This is crazy, y'all. We're looking like insanity here, okay? So meanwhile, y'all are plugged in, y'all are tuned in. We in here studying like a team, you know, people that are responsible trying to find out what's going on so that we can formulate plans and strategies to mitigate. Meanwhile, everybody else is plugged in the matrix. They have no idea what's going on, you know. They waiting for the next stimmy checks to hit. Okay. Topaz said they are having labor union issues with the longshoremen at the ports. Man, it is chaos right now. Okay, that's all I can say, man. Like, never seen anything like this. It's been crazy. Thanks, Terry, for the update here. U.S. jobless claims total 385,000 matching estimates. So this was a non-event. The estimates were 385,000. The numbers came back 385,000 basically. What's interesting is that y'all gotta remember when we're looking at this data, they always, you know, correct this stuff, right? They always had these revisions. They revise them. You know, there's always the news headline that the traders start to move off of, and they'll revise it, probably come back lower or what have you. But we'll see, because what was interesting is that they pull back a lot of states pull back the unemployment benefits, and pulling that back should basically have the impact of force the people to go back to work, you know. So you should have less people filing for unemployment as those things start to run out. But the economy is still super, super weak. I don't know what this is. Topaz posted this for humor. You guys got to have a sense of humor. A room is a room. Funeral homes open their door to comedy clubs and other happy life events. Thanks, Topaz, for sharing that. You know, I was interested because it reminded me of when I was at the shooting range this week. And they have a really beautiful shooting range here. They have this like ballroom there that you can rent, and you can just have all kind of parties, festivities, things that don't have nothing to do with shooting guns. Anyway, so that was interesting. All right. Manchin urges Powell to start QE tapering, citing inflation risk. Well, he can cancel Christmas on that because the Feds, they're not going to taper. They will not, because like I said before, like my man Peter Schiff says, if you know your only aspirin, if you got a headache and your only aspirin is a handgun, would you use it? And that's basically the situation that the Feds are in. So they are not going to do so. In fact, they're going to kick this thing into overdrive, especially this Delta case thing starts to get really crazy out of hand. You know, they had to shut down. In fact, we're seeing lockdown stuff happening all over again. I just saw something about Amazon. They're requiring all of their warehouse workers to start wearing masks again. You know, a lot of, you know, companies are now trying to force their employees to get the so-called vaccine, you know, whether you call it a vaccine or gene therapy, whatever the case may be. It is not the traditional, you know, way of vaccines. It is, you know, hacking of your body and changing the information and making your body produce the, you know, spike protein there, which is interesting because there's nothing wrong if people want to volunteer to do it, but mandating it is totally unconstitutional. Okay, it is equivalent to rape. You got to understand. You don't let nothing enter into your body without your permission. Okay, so these companies, it doesn't give them the liberty to say, yeah, you got to go get something in your body, you know, against your will. Like, this is the problem that we have in America right now, because we have so many people sleepwalking that don't understand that you don't have to put up with this. These are the things that revolutions are made from. You got to understand, the same way they was trying to tax our forefathers of the country, and what did they do? They fought back. You know, the whole war was interesting because it popped off from, I say, some thug dudes coming out the bar that was looking at the soldiers, you know, King George soldiers, you know, because they come over to tax people to collect their money, and they coming out the bar drunk. And then they just started sharing words, talking junk to them, like, I bet you won't do this. And then that's how the whole revolution started off, with some drunk dudes that had the balls to go up against the soldiers. and that's how the whole revolution popped off. Everybody been wanting to fight back. They were just scared. They didn't see stuff. You know how it is. You got to have somebody to set it off. You know, in your crew, you got somebody that's in your crew that's the set it off king or the set it off queen. And you just need for that one person to set it off for you to get in. It was that kind of situation that happened with the American Revolution. Do your homework on the history on that. But the same thing we hear, and we're seeing, you know, nations. I was watching video of France, of people having like big marches, you know, like look like parades. And, you know, people are actually fighting against this whole trying to mandate people to get these vaccines. You know, this country was founded off of principles of liberty. You got to understand, that's what makes America so great. Anybody knows that if you force something, you're not going to get a good result versus if it freely comes to its own conclusion. You know, my wife used to always tell me, she said, baby, you draw more bees with honey. Okay. You know, that's a very important lesson. Some of y'all probably need that lesson, right? But even myself, who, you know, I'm a follower of Christ. I'm a Christian. But even as a Christian, not even God forces people to worship him or believe in him. You have the right to not, if you want to, you know, that's when you have free will. So that's what we talk about with liberty. It's just having the freedom. Okay. The problem is we're so programmed to believe that government's supposed to rule over us and tell us what we're supposed to do, this, that, and the third. And it is totally ass backwards. The natural state of man is free. It is not to be in bondage. And the forefathers would be turning over in their grave if they seen what was happening in this country right now. So it is crazy to me that, you know, people are actually parading about this, that your company should be able to do that. No, they should not be able to do so. It's unconstitutional. And I think that people will fight back. And in fact, I hope people do fight back. You know, this is a violation. This is equivalent to rape. You can't force somebody to put something in their body. I don't want to hear no fake ass fallacious arguments about, well, you need to wear seatbelts. You didn't complain about that. Or you something about some other vaccines when you was a kid and this, that, and third. No, this shit is rape. Okay. You don't condone rape. You can't condone this mandate. All right. So that's how I feel. Anyhow, so mortgage forbearance plan starts reach highest level in 4 months. So mortgage forbearance is becoming an issue. And we got the mortgage rates right here. How convenient. 30-year fixed 2.9. All right. That's the average rate right there. What was interesting, though, man, I had talked to, when I was at the range, the instructor, he works in mortgage. And he was telling me how, like, his customers were, you know, arguing at him. And he was telling me about this one customer. She was going crazy because she can't afford to pay her mortgage. And he said that she just bought the house in May. I thought that was interesting. So you tell me she's 2 months behind already, and she just got into this house in May. Like, what is the breakdown? What was the breakdown? You know? But this is what I tell people all the time. You can't put too much faith in numbers. Okay. I'm not somebody who knows all things. I like to study a little bit of everything. I like to know a little bit of everything. I do have data science certification, analyst designations and stuff like that. But I'm not gonna say like I'm a genius or nothing like that. But the key thing is that numbers. People say that numbers don't lie. People don't understand the numbers. People don't understand the narrative behind the numbers. So we put too much, as a culture, we put too much faith in numbers. And I tell you this is because sometimes the numbers don't tell us causality of situations. We can observe something, but how do we know the causality? We don't know. For instance, you see the COVID cases and stuff. People see the COVID cases, this, that, and the third. We see the cases going up, but does it say causality? No. My friend, he gave the COVID to this person, and this person gave it, I was gotta say the Rona to this person. Did you see those people passing Rona around? No, you didn't. So you have to assume. It doesn't make anything objectively true. But also with the economy, okay, there are ways that people circumvent the system. See, the system, a computer, one of my engineers used to tell me all the time when we was in the music industry, he's like, He's like, no, Nova, man, that was my name. He's like, no, he said, man, take that antivirus stuff off your computer. You don't need that stuff. And I was like, why? Because he's a hacker, right? He's like, man, I can write a program right now that fits the same size of any file that's on your computer and then slip right past your antivirus. You wouldn't even know it. And he's like, all this stuff is doing is just slowing your computer down. I was like, really? That's interesting. So the data, the robots and all that stuff, it doesn't understand certain things, okay? That's why they hire all these data scientists and analysts to try to figure out these things. So when you see situations like they take a look at all the credit that's out there. We see, oh, credit allocation looks great. People with high credit scores, they're buying homes. People with the lowest credit scores, they're not able to buy homes. So it looks like we fixed the problems that occurred in 2008 in a great financial crisis. So we don't see any risk of a housing bubble, because this is not the same situation that like back then. Okay. Now, all of you guys know, people know how to get around the numbers. Okay. People fake the numbers all the time. They cheat the code, okay? Because the numbers, what happens is a lot of people like the coach towards the numbers. You got a lot of credit building people out there. They attach people to their credit lines to boost their credit, okay? So you got these credit boosters out there that boost people credits. So, hey, buy my lines, you can pay some money, and then they boost your credits. Then you got people with all these high credit scores that's buying these homes. Does it mean that they can actually afford it? No, it's just a number, okay? And you got to understand, they go through all this underwriting, they go through so many levels of regulation to try to weed out bad risk, and it still fails. That's why I was bringing up a situation with the guy was telling me how he's seeing clients, they're delinquent already, and they just got in their homes. You mean to tell these people are passing through all the regulations and all this stuff, and then they still can't afford the freaking home? It is crazy. Anyway, so to me, what I'm seeing is super bubblicious activity in all parts of the market. Stock market is crazy. The housing market, I think, is actually even more crazy. Commercial real estate, stupid, dumb, crazy. Yes, like this stuff is not going to end well. I am pessimistic because of what I am seeing. I don't see a way out of this unless the right thing happens, which that's going to be some pain too. But all we can continue to do is make this thing worse and worse by, trying to put a Band-Aid over this gaping open wound. That's what the feds are doing. Just all they can do is, print money. All right. Let's see. And other interesting things here that we got on the timeline. Let's see. Mia said there are only going to be more debt. You're going to have people leave their jobs, which is going to cause more unemployment. Yeah, Mia, I think that's interesting. I was watching the Dave Ramsey show, and somebody called up and they was asking about the same situation. I posted it online, Facebook, which y'all know I got banned from Facebook. So I can't post in groups. I'm on punishment for like 30 days, but I can post on my personal page now again. Anyway, you know how they try to control everything you say. I posted it on there because the woman, she was calling, asking for advice, like, hey, they're trying to mandate this. Should I quit my job or what? And, they was basically telling the same thing, like, man, you got to stick to your convictions, man. It's all about ethics. At the end of the day, whether it's your religious views or whatever views you have, it's your right, it's your freedom. It don't matter what they say. And then what they do is they give you these loaded words like, do the right thing. Like, anybody can say, do the right thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the right thing, right? If my moral compass is not the same as your moral compass, what's right to you ain't gonna be right to me. Okay, so that's a very interesting thing. But politicians, they like to do that type of stuff. You said the movie Without Remorse hints to how the government makes up stuff to sway the people to find a common enemy, even when made up. Thanks, Mark. That's what you make up a common enemy, man. That's what they do. It was interesting. I remember this old movie I watched. It was Freddy versus Jason. I don't know if y'all it was back in school. Everybody was crunk about Freddy versus Jason because, those two crazy horror film guys. But what I can remember from the movie was that, like, Freddy needed people to come back into this physical form. He needed people to believe in him again. So he had to find some way to get people to believe and say his name, So he had Jason basically out here killing people and think it was him. And so they started talking about him more. So he got his power from them talking because people started, this is how the belief came in. So belief is a powerful drug, man. This is why you have billions of dollars that's been spent on advertisement, on, TV, radio, social media. Listen, everybody that's out there saying they stock trading gurus, this, that, and the third, they all sell their lifestyle. They're all lifestyle selling. None of those people have this. None of those people, they make a lot of money just signing people, and people believe they're going to get the same results of what they're seeing. You don't even know how these people are getting the money that they got, what they're doing on the side. You don't know. You know what I'm saying? But people always fall into the trap. That's why you have so many people that come in this game that don't learn. They start following people and they get their heads cracked open all the time. And then they give up and they're like, oh man, this is a scam. And it's a scam. I'm like, yeah, the guys you probably sign up with probably are scam artists. I mean, it's a lot of these scam guys that be in your inbox all day, every day. And then they're trying to put you under pressure. Oh, you got to sign up now. You got to sign up. Oh, we're going to teach you this. Oh, we're going to show you this. We're going to, man, clean your inboxes out now. Okay. You subscribe to a bunch of crap. Clean it out. Okay. They're going to be pestering you. I'm telling you right now. They'll suck you in. They'll give you a little freebie. And then next thing you know, they're pounding you for the sale. Anyway, here's an article here. It says, if your employer fires you because you won't get the Rona vaccine, don't expect to collect unemployment. That was interesting. This article here, I think it was on Yahoo Finance. I think it's another scare tactic thing to try to tell people that, well, you wouldn't be able to get unemployment if you quit. That's not true. There's lots of exemptions that people can actually file for. You may have to do a little work on it. But again, I think that some companies will try to make some concessions, but if they don't, it is what it is, man. Don't lose your integrity over this. I'm telling you right now. Seeing links between wages and workers, more business raised the former to address the latter. As businesses emerge from the lockdowns, many are facing the challenge of too few workers to accommodate strong demand. And while the labor shortage isn't new, it's definitely a sore spot for many that's growing more acute. Okay, this is a good read here for you guys. You're gonna check about that there. Okay. So yeah, and then I posted this right here from this book, and I recommend this to you guys to check it out. My man F.A. Hayek, he wrote this book over 81 years ago. I think it's like 1940. He wrote this book. It's called The Road to Serfdom. Okay, and you guys know I'm constantly reading. I got so many things in my book. You can actually listen to this. I got the Audible as well. I got pretty much every version of this book. But definitely want to have a hard copy. F.A. Hayek, Friedrich A. Hayek, he's a Nobel Prize economist, and he wrote this great book. And it basically, it is like a roadmap to what we're living in currently. Okay, it's like nothing new. So anyway, check this book out so you understand what's going on. You understand some principles of liberty. You understand the roles that governments, have served in the past. Anyway, a lot of things that he said is happening now in real life. So it is scary. Okay. But anyway, it's interesting. I took this little piece right here and I just want to share it with you guys. This is in the introduction of the book, page 32. It says, even more troubling, politicians instinctively recognize the seductive power of war. Times of national emergency permit the invocation of a common cause and a common purpose. War enables leaders to ask for sacrifices. It presents an enemy against which all segments of society may unite. A common enemy, right? This is true of real war. But because of its ability to unify disparate groups, savvy politicians from all parties find it effective to invoke war metaphors in a host of contexts. The war on drugs. Anybody remember hearing about the war on drugs coming up? The war on drugs. Has the government fixed that yet? No. The war on poverty. Anybody grew up and hearing about that on TV? The war on poverty. Has the government fixed that yet? No. And the war on terror. Has the government fixed terror? No. In fact, we're probably the terrorists to the people overseas. So he says the war on drugs, the war on poverty, and the war on terror are but three examples from recent times. What makes these examples even more worrisome than true wars is that none has a logical endpoint. Each may be invoked forever. Deal with that. I just showed you guys the war on drugs. When has that ended? It's still ongoing, right? It's always war on drugs. It's always a war on poverty. It's always a war on terror. Now it's the war on Rona, right? So everybody's supposed to unite. We're going to do the right thing. And they use these words collective. You're going to see a lot of words about collective. This is all socialism. Y'all don't even understand the roots of this stuff. This is nothing new. These tricks are nothing new. But This is all over, and it's all over the financial news. So that's why I'm covering it, because you guys start seeing this stuff where we have totalitarian, tyrannical governments that are moving, to extract all our liberties. And again, that's why I warn you guys about digital currency as well. You don't understand. I know you're probably excited about the benefits. Hell, I haven't seen cash in 5 years, but at the same time, it's one of those things where everything goes digital. You have no privacy, you have no freedom. They can control all things in the artificial world. And they are very passive aggressive. Okay. It's not one of those things where, we're going to hold you down and strap you to a chair and shoot the vaccine in your arms. It's not one of those things. It's aggressive. It is an act of violence. It's one of those things where, you don't get this vax shot, then you're fired. Okay. You're going to mess up your livelihood. And it's not one of those things where you didn't have the job and you went and interviewed for the job and they say, hey, the requirement for this job, you're going to need to get this vax juice in your arm. And if you voluntarily agree to that, okay, cool. But we're talking about people that's already signed up for these jobs. Vax juice was not a requirement. They're already under contract, already signed a contract. This is like a whole breach of contract. You put in extra stipulations that was not in there before, and then you're going to fire people. This is a travesty. This is crazy. So I really hope that people fight back on that. So there we are on all those pretty much good things there in the news and stuff. Let's take a look at these charts here. Starting off with oil. We saw that oil got smacked up. And, I think a lot of this is about the whole Delta situation. We're starting to see countries and, companies moving more into this lockdown type of phase again, which I'm sure they would love to go back into another lockdown, to blame it on the common enemy. Remember, the common enemy is the Rona, okay? Meanwhile, it's the government intervention. They just need to move out the way. So we saw the oil come down, rally back up to this point here. Now it's back at this support zone here. I don't really expect the support zone to hold. Pretty much thinking that it's going to breach, but we'll see. Right now, still holding there. And let me switch my annotation here. All right, cool. So oil got smacked up. I'm anticipating oil to continue to be, pessimistic on oil or bearish on oil, especially if we start to see more lockdown activity. Okay, less traveling and things like that. So yeah, looking at shorting. Travel stocks, stuff like that. If you're looking for some shorts, then those would be a good place to look at. Can't escape gold. All right. So gold smacked up. Okay. So gold smacked up, stupid, dumb, crazy. This is actually right now. So we got this break right here in gold. That was Friday. This is happening right now in real time. So we're seeing it breach this floor right here. So very interesting development there. We're seeing it come down, come up, smack down, come back up, boom, and we're seeing it continue to go down. So this is actually not good for gold. Gold is getting smacked up. In fact, a lot of things are getting smacked up right now. If we look at the futures side over here, the NASDAQ down 71 points, Russell down 14 points, the ES is down 15 points, the Dow Jones down 95, the Dow Minis down 95. So we can see everything is pretty much bleeding over here, except for Bitcoin. Okay. So again, on those days that we see downturn in the markets, what I've been seeing here is people going to gamble stocks, stocks like the AMCs and the GameStops and, Blackberries, these meme stocks. I expect to see more of that. So a lot of volatility. So on a daily basis, we're just going in, we're finding where the flow is at. So we can find a flow. We can actually point out some positions on a daily basis. But right now, I think that the overall market is just too top heavy. I think it's too overbought. I think there's too much risk in the game right now. Let's take a look at the S&P. All right. So just take a look at the S&P 500, and you guys can see that there. And just spread it out some. You can see how, we've gone through the JP Morgan target 4,400, but as soon as we breach past that, we hit the 1272 Fibonacci extension, and now we're starting to see that get rejected here. Okay, we're seeing that get rejected right there at that dark green line right there. And this is pretty much overall. I think that, you know, it's time for a pullback here. So it's going to be a slippery slope. Let's just take a look at the NASDAQ. All right, and we can see some of the same type of situation development over here in the NASDAQ. Just trying to build that out some more for you guys so you can see how it hit that top and how it's starting to sell off some. Even myself got smacked up on that a little bit, trying to build a nice position in Apple, and that got rejected early on Friday. But going into it, it was looking like a good setup, but got that signal as soon as we opened up the market and had to get up out of that situation. So let's just take a look at Apple real quick. Okay, so you guys can see that, you know, excuse me there. Had a nice squeeze that's going in there. You know, trading a little sideways, kind of got like a little diamond head over there, which is normally like a bullish position, but we can see that it's starting to get weak here. Okay, that could be one of those situations that could shake out some weak PA hands, as we say in the chat room. Don't really know. The pattern could still hold true. The pattern is still in force there, but you know, I didn't have the diamond hands, so I had to run. All right. But that's what I was looking at on that. But I think that Apple's situation is going to be crucial for the markets because, again, its weighting is pretty heavy. And so if Apple holds up, then that's going to be good for the markets. But I think if Apple goes down, this is not going to be good on the markets. We did see Amazon get smacked up. Y'all didn't see the Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees on Amazon? Y'all didn't see that? No? Knifey knife? Oh, there you go. Yeah, that was the Voorhees right there, and the Michael Myers pop off. You see that came and look up, yeah, death. That's what happened there. So Amazon got ripped, and so you know, Google is still up, Facebook is up, and again, these are the big boys who's pretty much carrying the markets. All right, so if they go, so does the markets. Bitcoin, it's so fast. Yeah. That Apple situation is tricky, tricky. Bitcoin is actually starting to breach above its key resistance zones in there, and so let me just make it bigger for you guys to see what we're looking at here. So this was the key area here, the clear. We caught that buy signal right there. Of course, what I was telling you guys that we needed to clear this resistance zone that was in there. You guys can see that it went up there, it got rejected, it fell back to the 200 floor, that support, and then it plowed through the 100, and then it plowed through my 127, and now it's up here at the 618. And so crypto, again, when the market is going down, you know, people are gambling. People are going into Bitcoin, all the inflation signs in the world. You would think that people will be buying gold, but no, people want to go to the crypto. So anyway, got a couple of crypto stocks is over here. I think that they're a little overbought. And so we'll see if Bitcoin holds, because look at it. It's still overbought. It's overbought from this rally. This may be a fake out, maybe a nice little trap, get you all in there and then drop the anvil on your head. But you guys can see those crypto stocks that I have over here. Just taking a look at them. This is where we're seeing all the flow at, like MicroStrategy. Yeah, it's like MicroStrategy up there. Got to see if it's still, you know, push through up here. It's up against some resistance, so we'll see if it continues to move forward. What else you say? Riot. Okay. Riot is looking a little better. It's got some more space. And and it's trying to tip ahead. It hasn't had much movement though, but you can see it right there. Riot. You said Marathon Digital. Okay. There we go. Yeah. Again, they're starting to tip up here. Coinbase. Yeah, I see Coinbase is starting to move up some here. So again, we're seeing some movement over into the crypto side. So it's gonna be interesting to watch. Those are a couple of plays you guys can check out on that. And while I'm actually reviewing this, y'all can go ahead and drop, whatever plays y'all want to look at real quick before we bring the session to a close. But yeah, that's the crypto exposure list that's over there for you guys to check out. Interesting thing we went over earlier was the financial sector. Yeah, the financials, they did a thing, last week. Look at that nice gap up there in the financials. Crazy squeeze that's in there, and that gap up there, which is interesting to see if that gap is going to hold through and push, further up with that squeeze on it. And so you can take a look at those names like the Goldman Sachs and JP Morgans and all of them. And you can see Goldman Sachs here moving higher, same squeeze that you saw in the sector. Boom. JP Morgan, same thing. You guys can see. But what's interesting? JP Morgan could be forming some kind of head and shoulders though. It looks a little, interesting. That could be a shoulder. This could be a shoulder. That could be a head. You can see the arms there. That could happen if this thing chooses to reverse. But, again, that's a shoulda, coulda, woulda. What we do see is a trigger to buy there. So, yeah, we got so I'm bullish on that. But that pattern kind of just stuck out to me. So it's something I had to be aware of. And so anyway, but it looks bullish. The financials have been pretty strong. So you guys can see that. Let me take a look at the VIX, actually. Okay, so the VIX is actually coming down. I got some levels that's been here. They held true for quite some time, so I'll leave them there. It was interesting. We did get a lift in the VIX here. Boom, came up like that, compressed right up against this resistance there, and then Friday we got the sell off, like boom. So the VIX is starting to come back down. VIX may come down to about this zone. If that happens, then that should be good for equities though. If the VIX goes down, that should be good for equities. So I'm be curious to see how the VIX interacts these days, if the VIX even works. Sometimes the VIX just be broke. So right now the VIX futures seem to be working. Let's see. Okay, just a tad bit. Just a tad bit. Okay. Now, what's interesting, taking a look at the bonds here. Just looking at the bond vigilantes, we saw boom, this downtrend in the bonds. Just looking at the 10-year here. We saw the downtrend here, but it's starting to look like that has floored out, starting to look like it's maybe trying to come back up, which is interesting because then that means that bond yields should come down. So if the prices here go up, then the yields should, these are the yields. So if the price of bonds go up, then the yields come down. If the price on bonds go down, they sell off, then the yields go up. So we see an uptick there. So these are the yields. So, that's going to be interesting to see as well. See these bonds starting to go up. These yields are going up on the bonds. All right. So that means bonds should come down. All right. But yeah, so VIX is, I don't think the VIX is going to be a strong indicator for us right now. It's not really shaping out. All right. So with that being said, let's see. Oops, wrong ticker. Take a look at the cash. You see the cup and handle pop off in there, which is interesting, because overall, I think that well, it could be a double bottoms, could be anything here. But overall, I think the cash here will eventually come back down. But right now, it's looking pretty bullish. Okay, they got that come down here. We're seeing it come up like this. Where could it go? Well, I mean, it could go up there to about 95 if you get a nice bid. So, but you know, it's interesting. You know, are investors buying cash, or they holding cash, selling out stocks? We are seeing Bitcoin go up, so we can see money starting to flow into crypto, or they could be going to cash holdings here as they come out of these stocks, the sell off. All right. And then let's just pull up TLT. All right. And then there you go with the bonds. As I was just showing you guys, the bond prices go up, yields go down, bond prices go down, yields go up. So we saw the bond prices come up to the 786, get rejected. Boom, it's going down. So we're starting to see the yields, like I just showed you guys on the yield chart, those are going up. Yeah, we got to see if this is going to hold this support though, or will this breach all the way down? So it's going to be interesting. Definitely on the lookout for those things there. What you guys got? Dustin says he's long AXP. That's American Express. Okay. All right. So here we go. All right. Let's take it from here to here. Okay. Interesting chart here. So it is in a squeeze. And like I was just showing you guys, the financials are actually looking, bullish. And I think that this would be a good candidate as well. But, you know, it's a little tricky. We got the move that came to the 50. We know that 50 is a strong floor right here. And then starting to reverse up into the 618, which is a strong resistance zone here. But we got buy triggers here. We can see in the stochastics this is moving upwards, and we can see the momentum is shifting back positive. So I do like this to a positive side, and definitely will maintain a bullish outlook on that one as well. All right. And Dustin's also looking at MU. Yo, Dustin always be coming through with the plays, man. Appreciate that, Dustin. He be coming through with the plays. Let's see what Dustin got here. All right. All right. So this one right here is pretty weak, though. It's pretty weak. So if you take a look at it like this, okay, that downtrend is there. Boom. You can see how rejection come up a little bit. It hasn't quite cleared where it needs to clear yet. The stochastic sign here is pointing down. You guys can see there it's down. So yeah, for this one here, I don't have the same outlook on that. So it's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out. I don't quite see a setup on this one yet. So I mean, it could break out, but typically it wouldn't break out like that in this type of situation. I don't see anything that's going to give us a nice push through. So for that reason, I'm more pessimistic on this one than bullish. All right. What else? Terry, you looking at Berkshire? You looking at old Warren Buffett? And Warren Buffett, he go ahead and pass the torch, man. He know he's too old for this. Him and Charlie Munger. Charlie Munger be at the table in their meetings and be looking like he about sleeping, like somebody even wake that man up. Like, bro, when do you let go? You know what I'm saying? Like, dudes is looking like Moses. Yeah. All right. Oh yeah, this right here looks good too. That looks good too, Terry. Yeah. Looks pretty good. hate these long extended squeezes, but you know, that could be an interesting play, right? This could look like a inverse little heads and shoulders type situation. You know what I'm saying? It could do something like that. We'll have to see. It is up against a strong resistance. That was a nice little pop up right there. Definitely want to see if it, you know, can push through. But like I said, you know, financials, they've been doing anything. Financials got some strength. So very interesting place to look at this week. Yeah, man, y'all ain't got nothing else y'all want to take a look at? I done talked y'all head off. That's all it was. I done talked your head off, man. W-A-T, Jonathan? What? What is W-A-T? Let's see what Jonathan got on the plate here. Waters. Okay. Waters. What kind of company is Waters? What you see on this one here, Jonathan? I mean, it's obviously bullish, trading above all its moving averages. The trend is your friend until the trend ends. I don't know if this is the one you was looking at, John Waters. Yeah, you're gonna have to fill me in on that one. There's another water stock company. That's interesting because, you know, people need water. You need water for food. You know, people eating. Yeah, it's still melting away. Melting higher. All right, but yeah, so that's a good bullish one. PKG. Okay. All right. Same kind of situation there. Packaging Corporation of America. Okay. It's a long swing up there. Okay. So we got like about 146 target on this one here. I do like this on the bullish side here. Bingo. I think that's a good target zone. And MHK. M to the H to the Kazay. All right. You notice how all these patterns, they kind of look the same? It's interesting. Yeah. $210, $211 target, Mohawk Industries. Okay. Bullish also. All right. All right. So again, gang, thanks for joining me here again. Make sure y'all check out the book there. Check out the Audible version as well. Get you some understanding of the society that we're living in on the economic and social front here, so you guys can understand what's going on. But yeah, definitely appreciate that. One last one from Jonathan. You know, Jonathan, he's hitting those buttons there. AZO, are you looking to short this, John, or you looking to long it? It looks like a short to me, but we'll see. Yeah, it looks a little top heavy up there. You're looking long? Well, I got the trend that's going down here. Stochastics is showing down. Sell trigger, sell trigger. I mean, it could continue to go higher, but I'm going pessimistic on this one. So it looks like a short to me. But if it goes long, you know, remind me in the chat room. Say, hey, coach, you were wrong about this, man. Like I got caked up off of that. Just remind me in the chat room. You know, y'all know what the chat room is right here on the website. Y'all get it in. All right. All right, gang. So we'll bring the session to a close, man. I appreciate you guys. We'll catch up in the chat room tomorrow. Y'all have a good night. Peace.